Hello and welcome everybody. My name is Jim Dubois. Uh, hey, here we are again for another strategy-filled talk, strategy talk, scale talk, whatever we want to call it. So let's jump in. Today, we're going to be talking about things that you need to do to get ready for growth. So let's talk about the things needed to create let's call it a business foundation, a business platform to secure growth. What is growth to you, right? For most of us, growth is revenue, but we struggle to get the traction that we want to get real, good, solid revenue growth year to year to take us where we want to go. So, what I want to do today is I want to talk about the five important lessons that I've learned in my business over the years that have been instrumental in taking my company to multi-million. But not just revenue, which is vanity, right? And profit is sanity. I'm sure you heard that term. But not just the revenue aspect of it, but also the bigger your company gets, the less you should be working. So these five important lessons are going to correlate to that comment that I just said. So let's go into the first one, the first lesson, and I called it negativity is passe. Many of us, window cleaners, pressure washers, with employees, still believe in maintaining a high pressure work environment, being like a hard boss or a dictator type. And they're convinced that stressed workers are more productive. And many cite the need for their employees to pay their dues, right? This is a critical mistake. Unhappy workers are 12% less productive than happy workers. Imagine that. And they're much more prone to absenteeism and are more likelier to quit than happy employees, happy technicians, happy office staff, etc. I've been hiring employees since I was 20. That's when I jumped into the world of self-employment and I never looked back. And I've been on both sides of this equation, the jerk and the cool boss. And I finally found the happy median that works. I finally learned how to be a leader that leads. Very, very powerful sentence right there. How to become a leader that leads. And that's the basis of today's talk. Employees, they want to be respected just like employers do, right? It's also much harder to hire if you have a company reputation that's known for facilitating a toxic work environment. The word does spread. So you want your employees to feel cared for, supported, and respected so that they can do their best work. And good leadership will do this. In fact, good policy will do this. Do you have policy? Good pay and benefits will do this. Do you have good pay? Do you have benefits? Pathways to advancement will do this. But what else will do this? What else comes to mind? Well, bonus and incentive programs, when you have dangling carrots available, productivity automatically increases. Revenue automatically rises. Problems and frustrations begin to disappear. So, how, how does this work? How can you make this work in your business? I'll tell you, by hiring A players. Why? Because these are the things they want. When you have and when you offer opportunity, the A players will go after it. What else do they want? Well, they want policy, they want structure, they want organization. They want to follow the laws of your company. Do you have laws? Here's a tip. We have 24 residential technicians on our residential side. And we went a year and 3 months without losing any of them. Our revolving door of employees coming and going, it barely moves. And this is due to a carefully crafted recruiting retention system. And if you want to know more about this recruiting retention system, put the word retention in the chat bar and we can hop on a quick call and I will take you through the 4 points that you need to build a super effective recruiting system. But when you put all these together, these parameters, well, it ensures that your organization does not become a toxic workplace. When you put these practices in motion, it'll take your staff retention rates to all-time highs. People will stay and they'll stay longer. We've increased productivity levels and better return on investment from each of our employees, at least the vast majority, maybe not every single one of them, but the majority of them, because of this retention recruiting system I'm talking about. It stems from employees being excited and wanting to come to work every day versus having to come to work. Think about that. What if you could create a workplace where employees wanted to come to work versus dreading it? So that's your mission from this live stream. That's your mission. Let me say it this way. You want your employees saying to themselves or their coworkers, I'd be an absolute idiot to go work for someone else because Jim here at Squeegee Pros, he's got it going on. Can you say that? Are that what your employees are saying in the parking lot? So don't be so sure that having a high pressure work environment is helping your organization. It's not. It's damaging it in the long run. All right, number 2. Let's see. There's no room for micromanagement. And this can trip up even the most seasoned business owners, especially the ones that started their businesses from scratch. Probably many of you listening to this. We business owners often, we get used to the old way of doing things, right? We were at one point in charge of many things. And I'm talking maybe companies a little bit more advanced in revenue right now, and we've got a hierarchy building out. We were at one point in charge of many things that didn't necessarily have to do with our jobs as CEO. Then, when we hire the right people to take over those tasks, well, we have difficulty letting go of the control we previously held. Are you with me? This can lead to CEOs, us, micromanaging our employees and by extension inhibiting their productivity. And this was 100% me. Boy, oh boy, I remember the days. You interfering with their work and butting in where you don't belong, it'll only slow them down and limit the quality of the work that they can do. And this will lead to them thinking, and this is important here, so I want you to listen to this, this will lead to them thinking you don't trust them. So your exercise is look at yourself in the mirror, identify one area in your business where you micromanage, and then build out whatever you need to build out to let go of it and watch what happens. Let's see, 5 lessons. A third one that comes to mind, I'll say it this way, we're more than the sum of our parts. You know, in today's competitive work environment, and it's changing, right? Especially in the last couple of years, things have really, really changed. Company culture, it matters more than ever. It's the foundation that builds solid, amicable employee relations across the board. And at my company, we're pretty proud of our positive company culture that we've built out. And you have to understand, I've got 2 decades in this company, the company I started from scratch, under my belt. And you can bet this did not happen overnight. And you can bet I made every mistake out there trying to figure all this stuff out. But we're pretty positive what we've created at this point. But I'll tell you, with trial and error and outstanding leadership, you can design a company culture that fosters respect, productivity, and company loyalty. And when you've got that, watch out. Transformation begins. So I'll give you another exercise. Look at your company culture and identify your weaknesses. Then give yourself 3 things, we'll call it, 2, 3 things that you can do to start strengthening that company culture, fixing those weaknesses, and put a target date on it. You know, most, they just don't do this stuff. They just don't. They get so wrapped up in working in their business day after day after day after day. Let's fix that equipment. Let's go do that job. The day-to-day grind, so to speak. It's a job they call a business. And they stay in that rut. And if you can create, I was talking to a person yesterday, we took probably 30 minutes of the call talking about mindset and mind shift, right? If you're stuck in this rut of working in it every day versus finding the right things to work on, you're not going to get the traction to grow. You're just going to go at a snail's pace, and you're going to get more and more frustrated. And you're not going to hit the revenue goals that you intend to hit. And if you do, you probably won't have any hair left on your head. And you'll probably have a stress-induced heart attack in the process. The stuff that we're talking about here on many of these videos that I've been talking about are are projects for you to start working on your business with so that you can set the stage for growth, right? What this topic is all about. So getting a little carried away here. Let's go to number 4. Great teams need great leaders. Businesses they can only go to the top when they have great teams. And I'll go back to that word we used before, the A players. It goes all the way back to who are you hiring? Why are you hiring them? What are you doing with them once you hire them, right? The law, the order, the policy. When you start putting together great teams, the A players, with great leadership, well, they run the show. It's next to impossible to have one without the other. And I'll tell you, we learned that the best way to have great leaders who build great teams is to let them do their jobs. Oh boy, and I've seen this clear as day in my own company, my own mistakes that I was making as I was building my company to where we're at today. And it's not easy. But if you start taking some of this stuff that we're talking about here and really putting attention on it, watch what happens. So the point here is instead show them the path and empower them. So let me ask you these questions. What does your hierarchy look like? Do you have leadership? Do you want leadership? Are you the leader? Who are you going to pass the torch to as the company grows? Do you talk about pathways to advancement in your staff meetings? Is it laid out for everyone to see? Do they see your company vision? Let me rephrase it. If I'm an A player and I'm working for you, and I'll tell you, so in this scenario, I am now working for you, I'm an A player. This stuff that we're talking about, this is important to me, the A player employee working for you. This stuff is important. I want to know your company vision. I want to see the pathways to advancement. I want to know my future looks bright too, working for you. And if you don't have answers to these questions, I'm questioning my employment with you. And this is why so many companies, they struggle to get real solid growth, because if they can fog a mirror, you hire them. Because you're so stressed out, because you're so busy, you've got to get somebody in the seat. Versus looking at this methodically, logically, thinking like a Fortune 500 company CEO would look at this. So if you want to get to $1 million a year, think about what we're talking about here. Do you have answers to these questions? Remember that revolving door that we were talking about? What are you doing to limit the spin? So let me go into one more, and this is what's coming to mind. Stars shine brighter when they are visible. Meaning, employee recognition is essential to our company culture. We believe every employee should be recognized for a job well done. Whether they're in the spotlight every day or they're working diligently behind the scenes. A job well done deserves to be recognized. Period. No matter how big or how small. So reverse the role for a minute. Doesn't it feel good when somebody says to you, great job, well done, how'd you do that? This is impressive. You know, it puts a smile on our heart, on our face, in our mind. It puts that skip in your step. It makes you want to keep going. Same with your employees. So your exercise here, I'm giving you a bunch of exercises on this particular talk here, but it's important. Your exercise is implement a recognition program for all positions in your company. Set a target completion date. We did this. We have what we call a 5-star recognition program. So these are some strategies. These are 5 important lessons that I made some notes on thinking about what I wanted to talk about today. And these particular strategies, my coaching clients and I we stay focused on in our companies. And boy, does it and has it made a difference in positive growth in our companies. And not just growth in revenue, but growth in time freedom and growth as a business owner. And it'll do the same thing for you. You know, I have a former client. He was with me for 4 years. He was right around the $500,000, $600,000 mark, memory serves, when I was speaking at the huge convention, and something resonated with him during my talk, and he came up to me afterwards. He goes, Jim, I want to work with you. And here was a guy, respectable revenue, right? $500,000, $600,000 a year. But you know what? He was making no money. He was ready just to throw in the towel. And he needed a life raft. And we went to work. He was ready. That's the other part to this. He was ready. It was probably 4 months, maybe 5 months. We completely reshaped his hierarchy, got his leadership on point, brought in these things that we're talking about. We got the hats off of his head, because beyond the $500,000 mark, you don't have to have any hats on your head if you do it right. And we did that very quickly. And then we scaled 24 months later to 7 figures. He's got more free time now than he ever has. And he's making more money with a bigger company. If you have questions on this or have an interest in knowing more about what we do, how we coach clients beyond $50,000, $100,000 a month here at Window Washing Wealth, let us know. Put the word coach in the chat. We'll reach out to you. We'll set up a call. We'll see if we're a good fit. Some people are not a good fit. Others are a great fit. And we make things happen. I hope this has been helpful. Thank you for having me in your world. And we will see you next time. Thank you so much.